Your opening on karma, and we could spend hours talking about this because this is my juice here when we say like lift the haze of the contradictions. Let's talk about some haze lifting on the contradiction.
Selfishness is the only way you can be inclusive. What does selfless mean? What does selfless mean? You'll stop breathing, is it? I'm saying it's just an idea which has never happened. It is just a foolish idea. There is no such thing as selfless because the very basis of your experience is self.
Yes, yes, yes.
Question is your selfishness inclusive or exclusive? That's all.
Voila, voila. Don't be stingy with your selfishness.
Yeah. No, don't be stingy with selfishness. At least with selfishness, be generous. Namaskaram, good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Sadhguru.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. Where do you find yourself?
Right now I'm somewhere in southwestern corner of Georgia, just about to enter Florida, maybe Burnswick, somewhere around that.
All right. Well, I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, that's good.
An hour ahead of me.
Yeah, but you look at my background, it looks like I'm in Amazon forest.
Yeah, man. I knew you were somewhere where it's fertile and a bit jungly. Yeah. You going around on the book tour?
Yes, meeting people, talking, doing a little bit of, meeting people, that's it. No major events because pandemic, no assemblies, but just individual people.
That's my last year. I wrote a book, Greenlight, to put it out, and I did it all virtual. It was all this for a year. There were some people that I miss being there in person.
Yeah.
But I must say that in a lot of ways, this way of communicating it's very intentional. I mean, because I was in Milan, Italy at 9 a.m., London, England at 10, New York at 11, LA at 12, and when
What
the LA
kind of jet-
meeting was
what
over
kind
at
of
1,
jet
I was
do you
having lunch
use,
with my
Matthew?
family. What's that?
What jet do you use?
This jet, that's what I mean. And I was like, look, I was all over the world, and I was done at 1 o'clock. In 30 seconds when I was done, I was having lunch with my kids. I was like, this system's okay. I kind of like this in ways.
I think in 2020, probably I've done 4 times more work than I would normally do traveling.
Yep.
Literally.
Yeah. Still finding time to get on your motorcycle?
Yes, but right now, this trip I'm driving a truck with a small camper, so not entering any hotels or homes, just living on the truck, cooking for myself and managing things.
I've got 4 Airstreams.
Uh-huh.
And I'm in one of them now in my backyard, and this is what I take on the road right here, and this
Okay.
particular Airstream.
I got something that can go off-road, a little small, not very… that way it's not big as an Airstream, but this will go where you want.
Nice. Nice. Well, cool, man. I'm glad we're gonna get to talk for a little while. Say howdy. I'm glad to meet you. I got a friend of mine, Mark Benioff, who's turned me on to you. He's an avid listener of yours.
How's Mark? Is he in Hawaii or in California?
No, he's over further west, Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii, that's what I asked. He told me
Yeah.
last time he was in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yes. He's doing good. He's the one who turned me on to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'd love to ask you a few questions. We'll get some conversations about all this good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your opening on karma, and we could spend hours talking about this because this is my juice here when we say like lift the haze of the contradictions. Let's talk about some haze lifting on the contradiction. There's a symbol to me that has meant a lot to me. It comes from the Bible, Matthew 6:22. It's the mandorla. And it's saying that, and even, Ralph Waldo Emerson talks about it. We talk about future and past. We talk about heaven and hell. We talk about good and evil. And we see these contradictions that butt each other. And the mandorla covers itself and is the third eye in the middle, and says that spot is the spot of paradox. That spot is where all the truth lies. That's where all the colors of the truth lies. It's not a contradictory shade of gray and compromise. It's actually where all the good stuff is. Paradox has been very helpful for me in understanding and having a high eye, a third eye, and not being so dualistic. Let's talk about that a little bit. Can you jump on that?
Yes, Matthew, what is contradictory is essentially in the psychological space of the human being. In reality, existentially, nothing is contradictory, everything is complementary to everything else. Is the day contradictory to the night? No, it is complementary. If it was all day, you wouldn't know what is night. If it's all night, you wouldn't know what is day. So essentially, human perception itself, because it is through five sense organs, it can only always perceive only a part of it. See, if I show you this part of my hand, you cannot see this part. If you see this, you cannot see this. This is the nature of all our perception. All the five senses are able to perceive only with the context, otherwise they cannot. So because of that, because we are fed with this kind of part information, our mind tends to think that everything is contradictory to everything else. Man is contradictory to woman, night is contradictory to day, light is contradictory to darkness. No, they're all complementary to each other. It is just that because our perception is so fragmented, five sense organs are made that way. These sense organs are only good for survival process. If you want to know, they are no good. They are only good to help you to survive on this planet. That you can do by perceiving things clearly through your sense perception. If you want to know life the way it is, if you want to know this phenomena of life the way it is, you have to go beyond your sense perception. In a way, the entire yogic science is all about this. Even the karma that we are talking about is all about this, because all the karmic inputs are in this sense, bits and pieces of information out of which we are trying to make something. This is like a child starting to, let us say, we give him a 1,000,000-piece jigsaw, he puts 4 pieces together and says, here I got it, this is a bear, all right? But there are 1,000,000 other pieces that you have never seen. So, looking at life in pieces through keyhole visions makes everything look like one is against the other. But in existentially, nothing against anything else, because as we sit here, see, that is your body, this is my body. This is my mind, that is your mind. What you call as my body, what I call as my body is what I have accumulated is my body, what you have accumulated is your body. What I have accumulated in impressions is my mind, what you have accumulated as impressions is your mind. But there is no such thing as my life and your life. This is a living cosmos. You have gathered a little bit, I have gathered a little bit, we're enjoying that. The privilege of creation is, the magnanimity of creation is that though we are really nothing in this existence, it has given us an individual experience, which is a tremendous, tremendous privilege. Unfortunately, human beings are not able to appreciate or understand this privilege. Though you are not even a speck of dust in this cosmos, you have an individual experience. You can look at it from your own end, as if you are a whole universe yourself. But if you take this individuality too seriously, everything will be contradictory. Once it's contradictory, as you get more invested in these contradictions, conflict is a natural outcome, you know.
Yes, heard. You said in your book, destiny is what you create for yourself, fate is when you fail to create your own destiny. I am a believer in responsibility.
I heard that you don't drive through the red lights.
I've run a few red lights. All right, but again, I say, if for people that say, "Oh, it's all fate," then I always I half jokingly say, "Okay, then run all the red lights, see what happens." I mean, I believe that the prime mover or God, whatever, or light that once our hands on the wheel, saying we are self-determining creatures. Don't just take the hands off and just completely, inshallah, the whole existence of going through the world. So there's a responsibility and fate, I think, and there's the fate of responsibility, and is that sort of what that line's saying? Destiny is what you create for yourself. Fate is when you fail to create your own destiny. That would be, there's a fate of fate is a fact in waiting.
Fate is a destiny unattended. You did not attend. You did not attend to certain aspects of your life. So they will go by the tendencies that exist within you or by the social situations that are happening around you. So if you allow outside situations to simply happen the way they happen, largely it'll happen to all of us reasonably the same way if you're living in the same place. But destiny means you take charge of it. And though many times we may not be able to change all the physical situations around us, still we can change the way we experience it. Nobody can stop us from that. What is your life is essentially the way you experience it. What is your life is not in terms of what you have around you. What your life really is the way you experience it. And the way you experience it, or whichever way you experience it, happens within you. What happens within you, if you don't take charge of that, I think it's a wasted life. Outside situations, not always governed by us, there are too many forces around us. Everything is not determined by us. What we have outside right now, we were talking about technology. Well, if you and me existed 500 years ago or 1,000 years ago, what we could do would have been very different. So what we are doing now, let us not take too much pride in what we are doing right now, because this is a consequence of the times in which we exist. If we did exist here at 10,000 years ago, I don't know if you would have found a cave in Austin, I would have found in India. So
Yeah. Yes, would have been somewhere else doing it some other way.
Yeah. So what we are doing is a consequence of times, but how we experience it is entirely ours. A caveman also, there were cavemen or cave women who were joyful and miserable. Today in 21st century, with all the conveniences, there are joyful and miserable people still, all right? So it is the way you experience is determined by you, not by the situations around you.
Heard, thank you. You say this line, I love the…
You've been reading the book. I haven't read it yet, I've been trying to open it, it never happened.
Well, you haven't read your book, you don't need to, you wrote it. You know, I actually just got this 2 days ago. I have not had time to read the whole thing, but I've gone through it and seen some nuggets that felt like lyrics that I like. Oh, I like that song. Okay, I hear that. And here's one of those. Karma is about shifting responsibility from heaven to yourself. In this, you become the maker of your own destiny. Now, you just talked on that, but I want to bring up an idea that's something, and my pastor tells me I'm pushing a big rock up a tall, steep hill with this idea I've got. But as a person who likes to play with words, I do as well, I believe that we should be… I'm trying to redefine the word selfish. That being more selfish is actually being more selfless. That being more selfless is actually being more selfish. That we have greater gratification, we have greater joy, we have greater gifts the more selfish we are, the more individualistic. Now, I know that can go out of hand, and I don't mean when it's at the expense… I don't mean selfish at the expense of excluding a lot of people or making contradictions. But I'm trying to redefine the word selfish.
Let me redefine the selfish for you. See, there is nothing here in your experience without involving yourself. So you do not know life without yourself. Only because you exist, there is life. If you did not exist, what do you know about life? There is simply no possibility. So selflessness is just an idea, a futile idea. The only way you can exist here is selfish. The question is like this, for somebody selfishness means it's all about themselves as an individual. For somebody else, it's for him and his family. For someone else, it's him and his community. For someone else, his selfishness for him and his race or religion or nationality. I'm saying, why are you stingy about your selfishness? Why don't you be absolutely selfish? Why don't you make your selfishness cosmic, at least global? What is it selfishness means? I want to be well, I don't care what's happening to you. Why don't you make your selfishness like this? I want every creature on this planet to be really well. And once you have set this course for yourself, it's not that you're going to solve all the problems, at least you'll be doing your best. And this is all a human being can do. That the question is only about, are you doing everything that you can do or not? Because in our lives, if we do not do what we cannot do, there is no problem. In our lives, if we do not do what we can do, we are a disaster. So my express mission is to see that every human being is doing everything that they can do with a sense of inclusiveness. Selfishness is the only way you can be inclusive. What does selfless mean? What does selfless mean? You'll stop breathing, is it? I'm saying it's just an idea which has never happened. It is just a foolish idea. There is no such thing as selfless because the very basis of your experience is self.
Yes, yes, yes.
Question is your selfishness inclusive or exclusive? That's all.
Voila, voila. Don't be stingy with your selfishness.
Yeah. No, don't be stingy with selfishness. At least with selfishness, be generous.